Well, Victorian police say the spate of bashings are not racist attacks, but the continued assault of Indian students around Melbourne has prompted strong words in Parliament. Just before dawn this morning, a mass protest at one of Melbourne's iconic street corners itself turned violent. 18 people were detained by police and the officers were accused of using excessive force. The Chief Commissioner disagrees after personally supervising the overnight operation, during which he spoke to the students in the middle of the night. And some Indian community groups are distancing themselves from the last stage of the overnight protest. From Melbourne, Raphael Epstein reports.
The protest was peaceful until the early hours of this morning. The demonstrators say in the past few months, hundreds of them have been assaulted on the streets and on public transport. Before the police moved in, the anger was close to the surface.
We like Australia, but Australians don't like us. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. We come here for a life, but they don't let us live our life.
We do struggle here.
If you want respect, give respect. If you ain't give respect, and you'll talk to our fist.
When there's assaults on trains, all we're asking is for people to support us. We're asking if they're on the train, they see something that's happening to any immigrant, to anyone, not just the Indians, anyone they see any assault, they should stand up. They shouldn't back off just because we're Indians.
Some in the crowd aimed their venom at the officers standing near Flinders St Station's well-known clocks. Later, the police decided to pull the protesters away before any commuter traffic began. Some in the crowd say that was excessive force.
I think it was the very definition of police brutality, that we were exercising our democratic right to protest. I saw police officers punching protesters in the face. I saw one police officer had a baton drawn and attacked someone in the leg. I also saw a police officer kick a protester in the chest.
After more than 80 police had taken some of the demonstrators away, detaining nearly 20 people and charging 2 of them, the crowd clearly decided they'd had enough and they ran to the relative safety of the train station, though they were pursued in there as well. Simon Overland says the night was overtaken by those with another agenda.
There were other people who became involved. Most of them weren't Indian. They were there for their own reasons, and I think the whole thing just got hijacked and got out of control.
With international attention on his officers, Simon Overland was there this morning and personally entered the crowd.
We'd been in discussions with them for a long time. It got to the point where we needed to clear the intersection. So, as I say, if they've been injured, I regret that, but in terms of what I saw, the police action was entirely justified and appropriate.
Indian community groups say they weren't involved in the final stages of the protest.
They were talking to students group by group. They were quite friendly. There was nothing I have seen either from the student side or the police side which is out of control.
In India, the issue burns on as headline news. Many say it's already stopped students coming here, damaging one of our biggest export earners. Both major parties condemned the bashing and assault of Indian students over recent months, the Prime Minister saying they go against Australia's tolerant society.
That is why these recent acts of violence are all the more deplorable. They are equally unacceptable and deserve to be met with the full force of the law.
The police in Victoria dismiss any significant element of racism in these crimes, but politicians know it can have a big political impact.
These recent brutal events in Melbourne threaten that peace and that tranquility. And as political leaders, it's incumbent on all of us to speak out against them and speak out loudly.
Despite the vehemence of the protest, established Indian lobby groups say they've been working closely with the police.
What we have come across, they give us a report on day-to-day, every month, what's happened. And I'm quite confident in their capacity and their level. They are trying to do their best.
More demonstrations are planned, but the Victoria Police have a warning. Overdo it and they risk losing public support.
They've made their point. They've made it very powerfully. It's a point we already understood, but they've made it to the rest of the community, and I think the rest of the community understands it. If they're not careful, they'll overplay their hand, and the support for them will quickly evaporate.
Police say they will continue to meet with community and student groups. Raphael Epstein, Lateline.